We good to Gucci to Gochi? I know we are because I can see that we're recording, but I still wanted to make sure everyone was
Gucci to Gochi, which is relevant again.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Thanks, Gooch.
I'm very happy for you. Don't call me Gooch.
That's
What?
so gross.
No,
I thought you said thanks. Oh.
No, I was calling Hironobutaka Gucci Gooch. I was telling him thanks for making the game.
Okay, well, maybe don't call him Gooch either. That seems disrespectful. Anyway, let's do the intro thing.
Welcome to RPG Book Club, a podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddie Grace Alexandra Hussein Webben.
Oh, God.
That's what people would call me if I was the president and they were being racist against me, and also I wasn't white.
And clearly born in Kenya and not Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly. A little throwback for you.
Yeah.
And today, we'll be continuing to be no good sellouts and talk about the fourth section of Chrono Trigger, which ends after arriving in the Age of Antiquity for the first time. Spoilers, Eli, the place we saved is called the Age of Antiquity.
Oh, God. You've ruined the game for me.
Yeah,
it'll never be the same.
It's the whole world is just full of great like antique shops. It's all these locally owned stores.
It's the Age of Antiquing.
Age of Antiquing. so
like, is having a great time.
The Antiques Roadshow is on every channel, and everybody is just finding like really old spatulas that are worth like thousands of dollars. And I like it.
Or if you go back in time to sell them, normal amounts of dollars.
Yes.
Or if you go back even farther, what's dollars?
Yes. But us selling out like this is cue for you guys to head over to ko-fi.com/rpgbookclub and vote on our Best of the Rest poll for year 2. Right now, Danganronpa is in the lead, so if you want us to play The Last Remnant, Shadows of Adam, or Star Tropics, go out there and vote and make your voice heard. But while you guys go and vote, how was you guys' week, fellow hosts of mine?
I have finally gotten a date for getting my COVID bucks.
Huzzah!
On the website, it's like, you're gonna get it on Thursday. So that's cool, and that's especially good because my shopping trip for the month is planned to be on Thursday. So I won't have to because I was getting a little low in the old bank account. So yeah, I'm doing good, and other than that, I don't know. I feel like some things happen, but you know what I mean. It's like I feel like I have a super eventful week, and then someone asks you, "What'd you do this week?" and you're like, "I don't fucking know." Fucking nothing.
Yeah. So, speaking of COVID bucks, on the 1st, the stupid ass governor of stupid ass Texas opened the state up, and then we had 3 record days of deaths from COVID-19.
Wow.
It's almost as if it wasn't ready to be reopened.
What a shock. The Backstreet Boys reunion tour is still going strong.
Oh yeah, excuse me, I meant to say Backstreet Bucks.
Yes, Backstreet Bucks.
That's the government giving us all a subsidy so that we can afford to buy Backstreet Boys tickets.
Yes. Yeah. But if you haven't been like using like HEB curbside or anything like that and you're living here in Texas, you should start, because stupid people now think it's okay to be stupid, and like no one was being socially distant, and they were like reaching over my basket to grab something off the shelf and stuff like that at HEB. Like they just the governor said, guys, you can be stupid, and people are being stupid, so it is hecka dangerous out there.
Oh well, the government says we can.
Yeah.
So,
I wasn't going to be stupid, but then
then the government gave you the okay.
Actually, hey, I want to do a quick little PSA here. I realized I should have done this ages ago. I don't know if this applies to anybody in of our listeners, but it might apply to you, a listener, or someone you know. If you or someone you know either works as an emergency worker, emergency frontline essential worker, or if they're not even an emergency essential frontline worker, they just live in a place like Texas and their job is not essential but is trying to make them go back to work, all that kind of stuff. If you would like resources and perhaps help conflicting with your boss about like whether or not you should be subjecting yourself to the coronavirus, stuff like that, you should check out Ewok. It's not a Star Wars fan page. It is the Emergency Workers Organizing Committee. It's just a really, really good network. A lot of people in my networks have been boosting it, have been talking about it. It doesn't apply to me personally because I'm a non-essential worker and my job is being very chill about us working remotely. But that's the Emergency Workers Organizing Committee. If you think you or again someone you know is like, oh, I wish that my job would X, right? I wish that my job would give us fucking masks. I wish our job would let us work remotely. They're trying to send us back to work. Blah, 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 blah. Please look up this organization. It's really, really, really good. It's getting bigger and bigger every single week. Sorry, I thought I'd throw that out there. It's actually very important.
Yeah. Very, very important. I approve of using our platform to spread social change and not just trying to be not political so that we can get on the YouTube algorithm or whatever the fuck.
Oh, also, there could be some way in which you could contact this organization, not because you need help, but because you want to get involved with them and do help. I haven't looked into that because I'm doing other things to try and help. But just I guess maybe you could look into that too. I hadn't thought about that just now, especially if you're like, I don't know, a lawyer. Any labor lawyers in our fan base?
We're really cornering the labor lawyer fan market.
Yeah.
Especially after our Phoenix Wright playthrough.
Yeah, turns out the Phoenix Wright series got us a lot of lawyer listeners.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're all anime crimes lawyers, so might not be any labor lawyers.
I guess you're right.
They go into the courtroom to try and help like represent some workers against like in some kind of labor case, and 5 minutes later, the judge just throws out the case. He's just like, "You're the worst lawyer ever." All you did was yell objection and present evidence that nobody had seen until just then.
Yeah, and then to get this evidence, I had to tamper with the crime scene so that a little boy could come in and tell me some sketchy testimony.
Exactly. That only works if the person on the other side is also like trying to physically assault you while you're doing it and also breaking all the rules.
Yeah. Yes. Anywho,
anyway.
Besides the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, I hurt my arm really bad this week, and I can't pick anything up with my dominant hand.
Oh, shit.
$5 to whoever can guess how I hurt my arm.
Was it child-related?
It was child-related.
I win $5.
Did you just try to pick up a kid and you picked him up wrong?
No. Like, worse. So... You know how kids are really bad at everything because they're kids and they haven't learned to be good at anything yet. One of the things that they're really bad at is acting. I am a decent actor. You have to be able to act a little bit to direct, and I kind of have a certificate on my wall that tells me that I can direct. So me and Scarlett were playing cops and robbers, and she tased me, and all I had to do was say, "Oh no, you got me." But what I did was I seized up like I was being electrocuted and fell down onto the floor and writhed in agony like I was being tased. And the way that I had twisted my arm and then fell on it bruised some like internal muscle or something. And so like every time I rotate my arm, like using my rotator cuff, it's just agonizing pain because I was overacting because it's fun to be better than little kids at things. So that's my week.
We've all learned a valuable lesson here today. Never try.
Never try.
Never try. The only other thing that happened to me this week, which actually was last week, is you remember how I had my Digimon Funtime Science Corner planned that I was going to talk about? Well, Digimon got postponed because of the Backstreet Boys reunion tour. And this wouldn't be so devastating
Boys, God damn it.
if this wasn't the second time that Digimon had been postponed by the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, because Digimon, the Last Evolution Kazuna English release date was March 25th. Lockdown started on March 13th. So I did not get to have my birthday party Digimon, but I'm like, it's okay. On April 10th, we'll start. I'll have new Digimon every week, and don't even have that anymore. So thanks a lot, Backstreet Boys.
Damn it, they've taken everything from you.
Why did really Backstreet Boys have to be back all right?
They're back, and it's not all right.
What about you, Eli?
My week wasn't very eventful. I worked from home, and I slept a lot. However, I did want to actually plug something.
Go for it.
Hell yeah.
I have a good friend who is a novelist, and she has started up a Patreon for her book called Margrave. Her Patreon is patreon.com/BIZSALVONI. I would highly recommend checking it out. It does have naughty bits, so if you don't like the naughty bits, it's okay. You don't have to read. You don't have to support her. But if you do like naughty bits and you like fantasy type of stuff, I'm going to be honest, I haven't actually read it yet, but I know for a fact that she's a really good writer because I've RP'd with her before, and it's super, super
nice.
Fun. She's been going through kind of a tough time because she is on disability, and her mother works for Health and Human Services, and so she's been nervous about the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, naturally. I just wanted to make sure that our audience knew about her and would, check her out and maybe give her some support, because she is a very, very good writer.
Can you say that her URL one more time?
Yes, it is patreon.com/BizSalvoni, BIZSALVONI.
Dope.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will check her out.
I would love to check it out, but
very interesting.
Oh, I would love to check it out, but I'm a good Christian girl who doesn't even know what naughty bits you're talking about.
I'm sure.
Oh. Speaking of
naughty bits,
being a good Christian girl. So,
are you a good Christian girl, Sam? I hope so.
No.
I knew it was coming one day. I mean, what? I didn't do anything.
But so tonight for dinner, we every night we try to watch a movie long about 5 o'clock. So it'll probably be around 6 o'clock. So it'll be over about 8 o'clock for when Scarlett goes to bed. And the movie we watched was Mom Has a Date with a Vampire, at the Disney Channel original movie. And Scarlett, of course, loved it. And Scarlett is huge into her imagination, like crazy huge. Like most of the nights when I actually get her to go to bed on time, it's because we're pretending she's Sonic doing something from the Sonic the Hedgehog movie that we are pretending, like when she's putting on her pajamas, that's when Sonic gets his new shoes, etc., etc. Like we have to always be using her imagination. So we watched a vampire movie.
Yes, always be Sonic.
Yes. So we watched a vampire movie. So she, of course, wanted to be protected from vampires. And so every night I sing her lullabies, and she was like, sing me some vampire songs. And I don't know any vampire songs, but I do know about 25 years worth of contemporary Christian music. And so I told her that vampires hate this guy named Jesus. And so that's why they're always talking about the Bible and Jesus in vampire stories. So if you ever hear anybody talking about Jesus, it's because they're scared of vampires.
This child is going to have a very interesting relationship with religion.
It's because we're trying to not push her either way, and so it's hard to find that balance, especially when like I'm put on the spot and she's like singing me vampire songs.
Wait, so she's scared of vampires because she's going to become a Christian now. Because she's scared of vampires.
No, because
unless she discovers how hot vampires are.
Yeah, unless she's like, my vampires are cool, in which case you're solid.
Yeah,
you just gotta show her what we do in the shadows.
Yeah. So
I love that movie.
And she'll just want to eat lots of biscotti.
So another thing we did is that we said that vampires are afraid of magic spells and all magic spells rhyme. So when you read Dr. Seuss, her room was saved from vampires. So I'm killing it over here.
When my sister was little, she liked to watch scary movies, and she particularly liked the Simpsons Halloween episodes. And there was that episode where they had the evil Krusty the Clown doll, and my sister loved that episode, and she would watch it over and over, but it would scare her when she had to go to bed, and she would be afraid that there were clowns in our room. And so my mom, what she did was she got a can of air freshener, and she called it clown spray. And she used it on her bedroom, and the bedroom was protected from clowns.
That's great. I do a similar thing with my Doctor Who sonic screwdriver, and say that it's a magic screwdriver that will protect you. And so I get her to point everywhere where monsters can come in, and I go and I seal it with the screwdriver. But
the rules.
Parenting is fun, but
one more quick tiny little thing, because this is just something y'all would want to know. I'm not going to go into it, but you should check out, if you're interested in, I don't know, films of any kind, one should check out the film Assassin 33 AD. Me and my friend watched it because we had listened to a podcast about it. It's a Christian movie. It's probably got the highest production values and most competent filmmaking of any Christian movie ever made, which I know it's a low bar, but like I'm saying, it's not complete trash. Anyway, the plot, okay, the initial plot setup is pretty racist, but it's a Christian movie. Okay, if you're into ironically watching Christians movies, it's gonna be racist. Anyway, the plot is it's a time. Oh wait, I just realized this is okay. It has the plot of Chrono Trigger. Okay, it stars. It stars some really. This is like the first 10 minutes. So literally, it stars a bunch of like smart, like nerdy kids who end up getting like hired for a top secret project to make a matter transporter, but then they find out that their matter transporter is actually a time machine. But then turns out that the bad guys take the time machine because they're radical Muslim terrorists, and they want to use the time machine to go back in time and assassinate Jesus.
Oh my god!
Anyway,
this is the best movie of all time.
Owns. I loved every second of this movie. Here's the thing: every single part of the movie is either bad and hilarious or actually good.
That's the perfect balance.
Anyway, y'all should all go watch it. And I was already going to say that before I realized that it was also the plot of Chrono Trigger. That's what I did.
So is that what we're watching for movie night?
I'm not going to say we should watch it for movie night, but also maybe we should watch it for movie night.
You're not going to say we should watch it for movie night, but you're also not going to say.
I'm not going to say we should watch it for movie night. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Anyway, just want to put that on your radar, just in case you're curious about watching a movie.
Yeah. Speaking of assassinating historical figures from back in time, let's listen to the phenomenal Magus fight music and then get started talking about the game.
It's good.
When we last left our heroes, we traveled back in time to retrieve the Dreamstone with which we could forge the Masamune, or the Masamune, if you want to fucking be Eli and correct us on our Japanese.
It's a big old mass of money.
And we wanted to use that sword to stop Magus from summoning Lavos. So with the Dreamstone in hand, we travel back to 1000 AD to see Melchior and reforge the blade. So we take him to Masamune. I wrote my notes like fucking Frog from the DS. So it's not like the these and thous that he has in the Super NES, but it's like still old words, and I don't know why.
Remind me to talk about that when it comes up, by the way.
Okay. So we travel back to 1000 AD to see Melchior and reforge the Masamune. Then we take the Masamune to its rightful owner, Frog, back in 600 AD. And there's some cool stuff there, but I'm saving it for memorable moments because it's really not that important. It's just cool.
Right now, and also later, we get two different chunks of Frog backstory. So we can just talk
I am going to go into Frog stuff because it's important, but the Melchior stuff is not nearly as important as the Frog stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm giving some lip service to Frog and not to the Melchior stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when we bring Frog the Masamune, he's not happy to see us. He's like depressed, and he's like, great, whatever. You guys can rest here, but like I have to go and brood. And he asks us to spend the night. So then we see Frog's dreams, which are memories of Cyrus, who we find out who Cyrus is and who Frog is really quickly. Eli, prior to this point, who did you think Frog was? Did you think that he was Cyrus? Because that's what the game was trying to teach you? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, I see foreshadowing. I know a thing. And then I found out who Frog was, and I was like, I'm dumb.
Wait,
it's okay.
A Square game where you think that a certain character is a badass hero, but then you find out that it was just the badass hero's less badass friend. That is
Final Fantasy VII Remake available at all retailers.
I've never played Final Fantasy VII, so
it's the exact same
but
plot.
it's pretty much the exact same plot. Cloud is not as badass as he wants you to think, basically, is what we're getting at. But it's if you had played any of the Final Fantasy VII games, you would know what this plot is. So this is for the listeners, Eli. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's not a spoiler if we ever cover it because it's out in the ether so much, and B, it won't even fucking make sense when it happens. So it's good to us inoculate it against you. You against it, not it against you. Whatever. So, Cyrus, real Cyrus. So we see Cyrus at Guardia Castle, who says that he's going to go reclaim the hero's badge from the Frog King. The Queen begs him to come back, and he says that he will no matter what. Then the Knights, and Ted Woolsey calls them the Knights of the Square Table, they wish him Godspeed, which, since I brought it up, I don't think I like the Slattery cut. I like that it restores some cut and altered content, but this game is really good for being kind of wonky. And if you iron out the wonkiness, it's just not as good. It's not bad. The game still slaps, and everyone should play it, even if you have to play it on Steam or DS or whatever. But like, I'm missing all of the Woolseyisms that are throughout it. But anywho. The Knights wish Cyrus Godspeed, and Cyrus is like, "We'll protect the kingdom while I'm gone. Hey, Glenn, come on and come with me." And this is the first we ever hear of Glenn, and he has green hair,
which is how you know.
Pick him out of a crowd. Yeah, and we can.
Frog.
Yeah, and so he has green hair, so you can pick him out of a crowd because he just has the average teenager sprite.
Yeah,
but there are an awful lot of just palette swaps in this game. But then we get a second dream where Glenn and Cyrus are fighting in a forest, and they come across the Frog King, who has the hero badge. Cyrus whoops his ass real easy and gets the badge back. Then we see a third dream where Cyrus and Glenn are getting their asses completely kicked by Ozzy and Magus, and Magus knocks away the mass immune off the cliff, so that Cyrus and Glenn are defenseless. Glenn gets bitch slapped by Ozzy and is like, I'm gonna frickin' die here. So Cyrus is like, no, I'll hold him back. You go and escape. Glenn stupidly doesn't move, so he watches Cyrus rush Magus and gets magicked the fuck out of him. So Glenn rushes to Cyrus's aid, but Cyrus is already about to die. So he's like, take care of Queen Lean for me. Then Magus sets him on fucking fire because that's what Magus is. That's who Magus is and what he's all about. So
he's cool.
Ozzy, he's so cool. He's so Vegeta.
But yeah, Eli, have you seen any art of this character or nah?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'm just trying to like, I guess
I've looked up nothing Chrono Trigger. I'm doing everything in my power.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's fine. I was just like, oh yeah, if you had like looked at a PDF of the manual or something, then you would see that Magus looks exactly like Vegeta. He's got a huge fucking crow's nest.
Yeah.
But of course you can't tell that as the sprites.
Yeah.
Not at all. So where was I? So Ozzy calls Glenn a quote scared little frog and says, hey Magus, you should give him a more fitting form. So Magus is like, yeah, that's funny, and he bitch slaps Glenn with lightning, which knocks him off the cliff. So back in the present, Frog says, oh Cyrus, which like then proves that, oh, in case you couldn't pick up on, green means frog. Cyrus is dead. Frog is Glenn. And Frog is like, okay, well, let's go fuck up Magus. So we head over to the Magic Cave location on the world map, which we've been able to go to basically since the beginning of the game, but it's been just an empty, like one screen where you couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But if you bring Frog there with the Mace Immune, there's a super kick-ass scene that where Chrono like stabs the Mass Immune in the ground, and Frog pulls it like he's some badass hero, and lightning is striking everywhere, and he's so awesome that it has to go out to the world map to show how powerful his aura is. He's just like super kick-ass, and he cuts the mountain in twain, and it opens right up, and it's fucking cool.
Yeah.
So
like a little bitty like
there's flashbacks that happen right before it.
Oh yeah.
I thought the flashbacks were after, but they're actually before, but it doesn't matter. He opens the fucking thing. What were you about to say?
This is a time travel game. It doesn't matter when we talk about things that happened in the past. They already happened.
Absolutely.
I was just gonna wonder how many. What's the resolution of the tiny little field fights? Is it like maybe like 4x8 pixels or something like that?
Something like that.
Maybe like 4x8. Anyway, yeah. In the world map, like a fucking tiny little like 4x8 frog sprite cuts the entire mountain tile of the world map in half, and the mountain goes and opens up. It's cool as shit.
Yeah. And then if you're on the DS version, you then get to watch it in anime, and everyone says that this is the one that was worth it on the PlayStation and the DS to watch the anime version, and I disagree. The anime version is like 90s anime where like there's like, you know, in say Yu Hakusho, he'll go and grab some magical artifact, and then things will be coming off of it, like anime whooshes will be coming off of it for about half the episode, and they'll be talking over it. Those are only okay because of all of the dramatic talking over it. This anime cutscene has none, so it's just like 2 minutes of just like 90s anime whooshes, and I hate the way they drew Frog for the anime. It doesn't look like Frog in my head at all, and it's not good.
What's weird to me is that it's Akira Toriyama designs, but obviously Akira Toriyama wasn't involved in the anime scenes, you know?
Yeah.
That's weird. That's very weird.
Yeah, everyone, like even the LP that I use to make sure I get, I like didn't skip parts when I'm writing my notes or whatever. Like they even were like, this is the best one. Everyone go and watch it. And no, Ayla kicking ass in 65 million BC is the best one. This one is not very fun. Anywho,
frog in his character portrait. Like, he looks like a real ass frog.
Yeah.
He also has like a surprise face. He's like, ah.
Yeah. So right before he does all of that, he does have a couple more flashbacks just to tidy things up. But in the first one, Glenn is a super tiny child being roughed up by other kids, and Cyrus shows up to chase the bullies away. And Cyrus is like, stick up for yourself. And Glenn says, but I don't want to hurt anybody. And Cyrus is like, no, it's okay. It's not violence if it's protecting people who can't protect themselves. So it's okay to punch Nazis. And I say, that's right. And then in another flashback, Cyrus and Glenn are both grown, and Cyrus is about to join the Knights. And Glenn says that he won't join the Knighthood because he's a scaredy cat, and he's afraid of confrontation, so he would be useless in a real fight, even though they both agree that Glenn is a better swordsman than Cyrus is. Then we flash back to the scene on the mountaintop with Magus again, where Magus magics the shit out of Glenn and he falls off the cliff. Then at the bottom, he turns into Frog and takes the hero badge and the hilt of the Mass Immune with him. So then we make our way through another cave dungeon, which is just a cave dungeon, nothing real special about it. And on the other end, we come out to Magus's Keep, which has the green dragon from Dragon Quest on top of it. Like, same pose, same everything.
Yeah.
It's just the green dragon from Dragon Quest. Love it. But the castle is exquisitely designed. This is the part of the sprite work of this game that reminds me of Final Fantasy VI the most, because Final Fantasy VI, I feel, did this a lot, where like you would look up at a thing and it would be intricately sprited, and this is the same thing, and it's really good. Just
like the Gothic architecture is adjacent to a lot of FF6 world building. A lot of FF6's aesthetics.
Yeah. So as you go inside the keep, there's a bunch of people who are like, not zombies like I want to eat your brain zombies, but like have no brain, only can speak praises to Magus type zombies. And they're all like creepy kids from a horror movie type thing, where they're just saying the same praises to Magus over and over again. And as you explore around the place, you run into a bunch of different ones, but can't progress anywhere in the keep. And you're like, oh, well, that sucks. So you go to leave, and now a save point has shown up. And so you, being a good JRPG boy, you're like, oh, a save point is in a place where a save point wasn't before. I need to go save because there's going to be a boss fight. So you try to save, and it's a fake one. This game loves to just give us fake save points, as we'll see in this in this dungeon. But then Ozzy shows up and is like, Magus can't come to the phone right now, so you have to deal with me. But before you deal with me, you have to take down Slash, Flea, and all 100 monsters in the keep. The last one is a lie. You can still skip battles in this dungeon. Game. It does not keep track of them too bad.
I want to comment on a few things. I don't feel like they're really memorable moments. So I want to comment on them now, just because I feel like this is such an important scene in the damn game, right? I want to set the scene a little bit. So when you first go into this place, I think it's very important that there is no music. And in addition to that, there are no enemies, right? There's no fighting, there's no music. It's just pitch quiet. And of course, this is an older game. There's not a lot of sound effects and stuff, right? So you're not making like footstep sound. So it's just completely silent, like Nadine's Drape Runners. And so you go and you explore left and you don't see anything, and you explore right and you don't see anything. So you get your view of this entire place. And like one of the things that you see, for example, is it's Sam didn't mention this, but like you see characters that look like your mom, or look like Luca's mom, or look like the Queen, and they're like, hi, I'm the Queen. You're great. You know, like saying creepy stuff where they're obviously like weird illusions, right? Like, duh. But it's just like super fucking creepy. It's amazingly moody. And then once you finally, like Sam was saying, start the dungeon proper, now the place is full of monsters. But you already know where to go, first of all, because you've already been there, which is cool. But also, at this point, the music starts. And the music is fucking great.
Really good.
It's like real Mitsuda hours. A lot of Mitsudas, you might recall if you played Xenogears with us, that Mitsuda loves like drone tracks for his ambient, like something scary is about to happen, like if there's like scary ambience, he'll always do like a drone, and this entire track is a drone. So like you've got this one note that is going to be playing for literally the next 30 minutes. Like you're going to not be hearing anything else except for this note plus the rest of the track, right? It's like this bass note. Anyway, and the game does that thing at this point. This is the first time that this game pulls this trick. It's that classic JRPG trick where when you get into combat, it doesn't change the music. So you're just hearing this scary, dramatic drone track as you're exploring this dark, spooky. It's just a phenomenal work of visual storytelling. The audiovisual game design storytelling is a wonderful set piece. I don't know. I wanted to gush about that because I feel like that's like kind of the plot that's happening here, right? The plot, you're just going to go to the dungeon and kill Magus.
And what's really cool about RPGs prior to the PlayStation is we had no idea how long they were. It wasn't written in stone that a good JRPG should be about 40 hours long and have 4 discs. And so, like, at the time, we've been to all of the Pillars of Light in the at the end of time. We know what we're doing. This is like very well set up to be, this could be the final
and
frontier.
The characters think this is the final boss.
Yeah,
the characters are like, Magus summoned Lavos to Earth, and like Magus is why we have Lavos. If we kill Magus, we save the day. Like they think this is the end of the game.
And it's real cool.
And if you're a dumb kid, you also think it's the end of the game.
Yeah, because like this game is really fast paced, but is also super dense. So you could definitely be thinking at the time like, this is just a shorter one. Of course I couldn't expect a full 30 hours from the Dream Team. They're all so busy, but no. So, like Maddie was saying, when you re-explore, all of the creepy ghost people have turned into monsters. In the room where our loved ones were, now they'll say the same thing that was sweet, but then it'll twist it into something mean,
like those nuns.
Pretty much. So it's like, Chrono, this is where you've been since the fair. Well, might as well stay here forever or something, and then she'll attack you, and it's
y'all know how it goes.
Yeah. So there are 2 boss battles for this first phase of the dungeon, and the first battle with Slash is not very interesting. He has 2 phases. The first one he uses magic, even though he's the master swordsman, and then he pulls out the sword for the second phase, and he's tougher. But really, you just kind of don't die and hit him. Was he hard for you guys? Was Slash hard at all?
No, Slash wasn't too hard.
Yeah,
Flea was the hard one
for me. Slash was like,
Flea is the hard.
Oh, go on.
I was going to say Flea is the much cooler one to talk about, and B, the much better boss fight. So I was
really shocked by
as long as you guys agreed.
I was
as long
really
as you guys
by the
agreed
difference in difficulty level.
Flea.
Sorry, I stepped on you twice. It's that like, no, you go. I was shocked by the difference in difficulty. Although I think I did the right thing here. I fought Flea first, and Flea's super fucking hard. And the thing is, you don't get a save point. I probably could have exited entirely, but that seems weird to me dramatically to leave the dungeon. So I haven't saved. So because of that, Slash was a very exciting fight for me, even though he's very easy. He does do one cool thing though. I want to say it's the first use the game's really made so far of the positional mechanic. The whole second half of the battle, all he uses pretty much, with like 1 or 2 exceptions, he pretty much just uses one move. He uses a directional move that attacks in a line. Here's what's cool. As we discussed, you cannot move your characters, but he can move. So literally, by looking at where he is, you can predict which characters it's going to hit. which is cool for like healing and stuff, right? If he goes to the top left corner of the screen, it's like, I'm like, oh, he's going to hit Chrono and Robo. But if he's at the bottom of the screen, I'm like, oh, he's going to hit Robo and Frog. So using that strategically to realize, because of the game's mechanics, like, you know, they could have just said, like, had like a little warning that says, warning, the enemy is targeting Chrono and Frog. Right? But instead you have to intuit that based on positioning. It's really cool. It's also, yes, very easy. Anyway, let's talk about the other one.
Yeah. So Flea is much, much cooler. They identify as male, but present female. And this is probably different for you guys. I believe that Nintendo of America would not like any of this. So here is some uncut content from the Slattery Cut. Flea says right before you fight that power is beauty and I'm deliciously strong, which I thought was great. And so they're all about beauty, and they're like a drag queen magician, and I feel that, and it's super cool.
I actually took a screenshot of what Flea said, and
go for it.
They said, male, female, what's the difference? Power is beautiful and I've got the power.
Nice.
Which, like,
so it's basically the same thing. I mean, I just figured, I just wrote it down because I figured it would be changed completely in the Woolsey cut. It's good to hear that.
Surprised it's not. That the fact that this latter one sounds good.
Yeah. But the boss fight is much, much cooler because they do is this the first time this has happened in Chrono Trigger where the boss is like, by the way, I'm a master of time and space. We're going to fight in outer space because why the fuck not?
Yeah, I think we fight in a magical Technicolor battlefield for like no reason. It's fucking cool.
Yeah. It's cool as shit. But I think it is the first time it's happened in Chrono Trigger, which is a JRPG staple where, like, as we saw in Legend of Dragoon, for the final boss fight with Melbu Farama was basically this every turn. We just change our magical Technicolor.
It's not cool enough to fight in a place.
Yeah. Places aren't beautiful or powerful. Flea's not about that. But
man, remember locations?
So right? So Flea also uses a bunch of like charm and confuse and stuff like that to turn us against each other, which is usually just like an annoying version of poison or something. But in this game, it's super cool because a lot of your strategy revolves around dual techs. So if someone is like taken over by the bad guy for a couple of turns, like suddenly you might not have your heal all move, and like it can be hairy and more than it would be in a normal game. And I normally hate when the boss is like, hey, Mirren Karen. And I'm like, God damn it. But here I'm just like, oh, this was actually like kept me on my toes with it in a way that doesn't ever happen.
Yeah. How was it for y'all? Did y'all beat it on your first try or take multiple tries?
I got it first try, but I got stuck in the JRPG loop for a little while.
Yeah.
You had to use some revive.
It is a bitch of a fight. I was in the JRPG loop, kind of. No, actually, I wasn't. I was like, I was in the JRPG loop for a while, but then like I got out of it and I was doing okay. But then, you know, sometimes you just let your guard down for 1 second and they fucking whammo you. But they whammoed me so hard that I wasn't in the JRPG loop. I was like, no, I am going to die. So I went all out.
Nice.
Anyway, I beat Flea with the following hit points: 28, 15, 10.
Wow.
To be clear, every single thing Flea could possibly do would hit for about 40 or 50.
Yeah.
So a single all, if he had hit me with an all move, I would have died. If he had hit me with a single character move, that character would have died. Right? It was down to the wire, and it was badass.
I love that. I hate having to do that, but every time I do that, I love it.
Oh, pro tip: Chrono, Frog, Robo, awful party. I stuck with the whole dungeon. Do not do it. It's bad. Yeah. I did it.
I actually, maybe I can't remember if I had Chrono Frog Robo or Chrono Frog Luca. I think I switched back and forth a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I had switched out to Marl because she can do the Cure Aura thing with Chrono. So
yeah, which is fucking great. Which frees Frog up to something else.
So what's cool about Frog is when he says, "All right, I'll come with you to kill Magus," that's him actually saying, "I'll come with you for the rest of the game." So you can take him to the end of time and get his magic early. So if you do that, him and Marl they have a heal all of status and HP, which is awesome.
Wow.
But they also have a super bitchin' move called Ice Water for me. I don't know what it's called for you, but it like hits like a truck. So my thing for most of this dungeon was have Chrono do Cleave, which deals double damage, and then had them do an Ice Water and then healing if need be. And it was a real good part.
I have not used the
fucking Robo.
Yeah, no, Robo just continues to be. I thought maybe if I gave him a chance, he would actually be good if I actually used him for this time around. He's just not fucking good.
Yeah.
But
I love him. Yeah. Great character. Not a very good party member.
Really not a good party member at all. No.
So yeah, after Flea goes down, we are free to work our way up towards Ozzy. This half of the dungeon is the best dungeon in the game so far. I think it's really good. There's traps, there's optional fights, and Ozzy is constantly making excuses to get out of there. When you think you're about to have a boss fight, he comes up with something to leave, and it's great. So when you finally trap him in his throne room, you have a fake boss fight where he's invulnerable, so you knock the floor out from under him and he falls down in his own traps, and it's great. I love it so much. Did you guys enjoy this half of the dungeon?
I'm trying to remember. Oh god.
It's the one where you're chasing Ozzy and it looks like Donkey Kong?
Oh, yes. Yeah. It was very interesting.
Yeah, if I had to guess, Eli, you probably got very annoyed because your annoyance threshold was like a normal human being instead of like a psycho person like me by the room with like 50 like traps in one room and you keep falling down over and over and over.
I fell down twice and then I started
like 7 fucking times.
Okay.
I knew where to go and I fell down like 15 times.
I fell a third time, but after the second time I fell, I was like, all right, I'm fucking abusing save states. And so I just
okay,
made my way around and was like, I hope I don't step on one. And then I ended up hitting a third and I was like, okay, so I know where that one is now. And I saved just before I hit it. So I'm going to restart that. Nice. I'm going to reload that save. And then I just kind of wormed my way around and somehow managed to miss it. I did not like the fucking fake save points. That pissed me off so much.
And here's the thing, every time you fall down, it's different which one's which.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go to this one. Oh, it teleported me back up. Okay, fine. And then I fell again, and I'm like, all right, I'll go over to this one. Ah!
Yeah.
And they're all those, we've got 10 HP, but we take 0 damage kind of things. So it's like, son of a bitch. Why you do me like this?
Yeah. So this part was really frustrating for me. As storytelling, I love it because the whole thing is just Ozzy's not strong and his boss battle isn't hard. So really this is his boss battle, is he's being annoying, right? But anyway, the reason I was frustrating was not because I didn't think it was actually annoying. I thought it was funny and characterful and gave the world a lot of depth. I can roll with this kind of stuff. I think it's cute and good. But here's the thing, remember, I'm kind of trying to force myself to do a low level run this time around. So anytime the game forces me to fight...
you had to do all the...
Yeah, anytime the game forces me to fight, I'm annoyed because I don't want to fight. So if I have to fight more than necessary, then I'm like, this is getting in the way of me trying to be lower level. Oh, also, I should have told y'all. I think I told Sam. I lost my save due to my emulator being stupid. So I had to steal someone else's save from the internet. And the save was a little bit higher level than I wanted. So I'm trying extra hard now to get my level back down, you know?
What level are you?
Oh, I don't remember, but it was literally just 1 or 2 levels higher than I was when I loaded it. But it was at the beginning. Oh, I'm saying I don't remember. Like I lost my save at the beginning of the week. So I think it was like maybe level 16 and my character's level 14, but I don't know what level I'm at like now because I forgot.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout outs to fantasyanime.com. Not only did they save Maddie right now, they saved my ass with as I was using a web browser version of an emulator to play Final Fantasy V, and then that website got taken down. So they had saves for me to get back where I was in Final Fantasy V. And they also were like, if I remember correctly, because I think this is true. Don't quote me on this. I might have my fan sites mixed up, but I think they're the place that hosted the Sailor Moon RPG when Eli found it, because he was describing the fan site where he found it, and it sounded like their page on Sailor Moon RPG. But don't quote me on it. I might be thinking of someone else.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Well, shout out to them regardless.
But they've been holding down the fort with good ass shit about old RPGs basically since the 90s, which has been great.
That's super cool. I had never heard of them until this week.
Yeah, I've used them many a times. But so we throw Ozzy down a hole, and we make our way to go see Magus. And then in one of the scenes that was copied like 30 times in Cosmic Star Heroine with no context whatsoever, we get a cool ass lighting of torches that reveals Magus in his throne room study thing. And it's real cool here. Was not important at all any of the times it happened in Cosmic Star Heroine. But
they just wanted to be Chrono Trigger.
They really just wanted to be Chrono Trigger. But Magus keeps talking like he's expecting Frog and expecting us to be here. Like he's like, "Oh, you already have the Mace Immune. I guess it's that time of night," type thing, which is pretty cool. And Frog. Yeah, it's really cool. So
I never thought about that before.
I never caught it before. This is the first time I've like replayed it since like the first chunk of times I replayed it.
Good.
So I was like paying attention to things.
Much to think about.
So yes. So Frog then performs a smackdown on Magus's candy ass, and we hear that beautiful song we heard earlier, which is a like they fight scene eyes the music in the background, which is kind of cool. It's like the drone that we've had forever has finally evolved into something else, and it's the boss fight, and it's real cool. And where this Octopath Traveler would have been seamless, but it was not because it was on the Super NES. How was the Magus fight for you guys?
So I did save states because I had to retry it a few times, mainly to lower my battle message speed. To make it slower, because it would come up like barrier change, suddenly lightning is the only thing that hits, and I only see it for a split second, and I'm like, I don't know what I just read.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And I mean, thankfully he does the ability that will hit him. So like if it's lightning, he does a big lightning ability. But I was still like, I didn't have time to read that. So
yeah, because it's super wordy too. It's not just like lightning barrier. It's like, oh no, everything has changed and things are super different now, and now the only thing that will ever hit him is lightning, and you have to read that in like half a second.
Yep.
And I had to like kind of figure out exactly like the best times to hit him. And I don't think I switched out my party. I think I was going Chrono Frog Robo, and I was using Yes, I was Chrono Frog Robo. I know that because I had the laser beam ability. And that was a little rough. And for a while I was just using Frog and Robo Bender. I was using Frog and Bender to heal like every time and just like smacking him around with Chrono. And then once he got to his desperation moves, I was using like X attack or whatever it is over and over and over, and yeah, it was a little rough, but I got through it. Technically, one try.
Good.
Technically correct is the best kind of correct.
Thing about this battle is, if you're playing defensively, it's really not hard at all. He doesn't actually hit that hard. Yeah, so the whole the way that this guy works is you can only literally hurt him one way. If you try to attack him physically, it doesn't do a lot of damage. And then every time you attack with any kind of attack, any element, any whatever, he always does a counter attack where he counterattacks somebody with an elemental spell. And after doing that, he's weak to that element for precisely until the next time you attack him. So you attack him with lightning, he hits someone with fire and says, now only fire can get me. Then you hit him with fire, and then he hits you with something else and says, now only that can hit me. You hit him with water, right? Now the problem is that there are more elements than there are characters. And that's why Robo is even the worst, because if he says only Shadow can hit me, Robo's Shadow moves aren't very good because they're all attacks. So if you're fighting one person, it's not very good. So Robo continues to be the fucking worst. I feel like I died the first time. I got my ass destroyed by Magus. Here's what happened. Every single fucking time I attacked him, he kept saying, only Shadow can hit me. Only Shadow can hit me. Only Shadow can hit me. So the only one who ever got to attack was Robo, which was a big problem. Or he'd say
a big string of, which was nice. I got a big string of only lightning, which was nice.
Yeah, that's the best one. Because by this time, did y'all have lightning too?
Yeah.
It does bitch ass damage. But yeah, the second time I swapped Robo out for somebody finally. Sorry, Robo, RIP. I actually forget who I swapped him out for, weirdly enough, even though it's such an epic battle, I forget who I used. But the second time around, if you're just defensive and you're healing all constantly, you've probably got a shit ton of super ethers. Like, you probably do, right? So you just play real defensively. And then when he switches to the second half of the battle, he just uses a really strong move that hits everyone at, like, every turn. But it doesn't hit everyone that fast. You can heal just as fast as he's hitting you. So, like, it's really epic, but it's not really the hardest battle.
Want to know what makes it really hard?
What?
If because there are four elements. There's water, fire, light, and shadow. If you use 3 of your party members, you only have one thing that can go horribly wrong.
Yep.
But if you, for some reason, just were talking about how great ice water is, that are both water, you then get, he's like, only fire can hurt me, only shadow can hurt me, only fire can hurt me, while I was in a JRPG spiral. So that sucked real bad, where I'm like, I can't even like do anything about this.
Yeah, you have like a 50% chance not being able to hit him. Yeah. That's fucking funny as shit.
But yeah, it was super dope. So after the fight, Magus again is like implies that he was expecting this, but not this soon. He's like, no, I wasn't ready yet. You ruined everything. Like, I don't want Lavos to wake up. And we're like, what? And he's like, well, if you hadn't interfered, but then some wacky temporal rumblies happen and a huge wonky time gate. Like, it doesn't have, like, it's obvious it's a time gate, but it doesn't have the same effects. You can tell, like, this is a fucked up one.
It's fucking
shows
cool
up and it sucks everybody up. It's really cool. And it throws us all back in time to 65 million BC. And here would have been a great place to stop, but this next week is literally the end of like Act 1 of the story. And so it would have been weird to do 65 million BC plus the next bit. And it would have been not enough to do it by itself. So as epic and end of chapter that was, here's a denouement before we start the next half of the game. But so Ayla finds us knocked out up at the Mystic Mountain, and we're like, where the fuck is Vegeta? And she's like, he was nowhere to be seen. So we rest, and the next morning Kino rushes in, and it was hard for me to understand him because he's speaking caveman, and I wrote my notes completely wrong until I went back and read them, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense for the things that are just about to happen for what Kino would have said. It's probably just Slattery's version of caveman because he changed it a lot, and he added words which made it less readable.
Yeah.
But Kino rushes in and says that Ayla ran off to protect Laruba Village, which had been up until now hidden from the Reptites. It was like their Eden, basically. Like that's where the heart of our civilization is. We have stuff out here to like draw them off. And as long as Laruba Village is safe, so are the humans. But the Reptites had found them, so Ayla went to go and fight them in a last stand. And as he's explaining everything to us, someone rushes in and is like, hey, the North Forest has been set on fire. And that's where Laruba Village is. So we run up to check it out, and everything is destroyed and smoky, and all of the people are mad at Ayla. And they're like, the Reptites kill everyone who opposed them, so we should just give in and not oppose them anymore. You fighting back is the reason that everybody's dying now, so we should just give up. And Ayla, being best girl, says very succinctly to let us know she's the best. And she goes, Ayla live, Ayla fight. And it's good. She's great. I love her so much.
She fucking rules.
All the ladies in this game are just so fantastic.
So fucking fantastic.
Like, I'm always predisposed to like female characters, but like I don't think it's ridiculous at all to be like, no, like every female, like if you were to rank, like I feel like if almost anybody were to rank the characters in this game from best to worst, all of the top ones would be the girls and all the bottom ones would be the boys, maybe with the exception of Frog.
Yeah. Like straight up.
And I forgot to talk about the Frog thing. How come he talks normal when he's Glenn, but then he goes into all the medieval speak when he's Frog?
Because I think he's being performative.
Why does that...
Also, everyone else in the medieval times speaks normal. I think he's just being weird. I think he's just being cool.
There's a reason that Slattery took that out, and that's one of the few things that he did that I agree with, but I miss it at the same time.
I disagree. I think it's fucking cool, especially the fact that it's not right. No, it'd be better if it was grammatically accurate. That would make it even more cool. Yeah. And me also even more stupid, but you know.
But Ayla says that if the Reptites want to attack her home, she's going to go and attack theirs, even though it's super dangerous, because as we see in a second, the Reptites have like a fully functional like medieval society way back in 65 million.
They're
BC.
way more advanced than masonry, the humans.
Yeah, by a lot. And so Ayla asks for some dactyls so she can fly to Tyranno Lair and take out the Reptite Queen once and for all. So we get into a really limited airship. Our first one kind of sucks, but we get to fly over to the Tyranno Lair. And along the way, while we're headed over there, Ayla begs us to not follow her, but we're like, no, you're our friend. We're going to protect you anyways. Also, if we let the humans die, we're kind of shitty time travelers, so I think we're supposed to help you.
I think fighting the monster that's going to kill us all in 2300 or in the year 2000 AD can be put on hold while we attempt to stop all of our entire race from being eradicated in 60 million BC.
Yeah. And so we get to Tyranno Lair, which is a really great dungeon with lots of cool puzzles, but basically no plot. There's a little sweet scene with Kino and a mini boss fight with Nizbel Mark II, but that's about it. The main thing that happens is the confrontation with Azala. So you bust into her throne room, and Azala's like, yes, the final confrontation. I knew basically I would have to fist fight Ayla one day. And as we see throughout the Tyranno Lair, and I mentioned a second ago, the Reptites are way more advanced. They 100% should have won, but they don't. And it's not because of us, as we find out here in a second. But it's really cool, where she's like, I knew that it was going to come up to us, yada, yada, yada. And Ayla gives a big motivational speech about never giving up and always fighting to live. But it's...
Never surrender.
Exactly.
God, I love that movie.
What a great movie.
her they shall be avenged.
So does that mean we're going to watch Galaxy Quest for her movie?
Yes.
I mean, those weird little kid things look like reptites, so it's all coming together.
Oh yeah.
While Ayla is giving her speech, there's a giant dino roar, and Azala runs from the room and is like, "Neener, neener, you never catch me." And so we chase her, and we come face to face with the Black Tyranno, which is a huge hulking HP sponge of a boss. And before we fight it, Azala mentions something that's been there this entire trip to 65 million BC, but you haven't potentially seen it yet, where there's a huge red star that's glowing in the sky.
It's been there the entire time. It's super cool.
Yeah. And she's like, just go ahead and fall already and bring it into all of this. But even though we don't get to even though we don't get to survive, I'm not going to let the humans survive either. So I'm just going to kill all the humans before all of us die. And then we get in a fight. How was the Black Tyranno fight for you guys?
I didn't much care for it.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it just takes
it's just
forever.
an HP. It's a HP sponge, and it's one of those things where it's like it's a huge HP sponge and it has high defense, and Azala doesn't. So you realize, oh, I need to take her out first. But then that doesn't change any of the mechanics. I mean, it technically does, but not enough to make it like then fair with how much HP it has. It charges up for a super move, and while it's charging, it's more vulnerable, but only more vulnerable, not like weak. So it takes for fucking ever.
Yeah,
I was expecting it to be like the fight on the bridge in Shining Force. That, of course, you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but it has this big countdown to a super move, and like the goal is to beat it in one. But here, I don't think it's possible to beat it in one. You have to beat it in like 5 or 6
or like 10 or whatever. Yeah, this is my least favorite part of the game. I love what happens in the plot here. I think it's really cool as hell and very important. But I find the dungeon dull and long, and the boss is lame. And also, I've never really cared for prehistoric caveman style aesthetics. It's not a banger of a boss, sadly. There was one thing I liked about it though. It was so long, I got to be hyper experimental with my characters. What I mean is, there's no like stats on the moves. Like when you click on a tech, it doesn't say like this tech does like 100. Remember how on Cosmic Star Heroine, one thing I loved actually, it was like every move would be like 230%. Which means it's precisely 230% of a standard attack is like how much damage it does or whatever. That doesn't happen in this. So like basically like Chrono's got a really cool dual tech with Marl. He's also got a really cool dual tech with Robo. I wonder which one's better, right? But most of the time you're always fighting different characters, different enemies with different defense values and different elements, so you can't really compare apples to apples. Because this battle's so damn long, I got to find out precisely how all of my characters' moves work. It was just this little it was like a little laboratory that I could just fiddle around with because it took so fucking long, right? I'd be like, okay, if I weaken it and then use this move, what happens? Okay, if I weaken it and then use this move, what happens? Okay, so now I know that move is actually about 100 hit points better than this move, under the exact, all things being equal. So that was kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah, I did similar things where like Chrono hits hard enough that Cleave, which does double damage, does just as much damage as X Strike, which is a attack from that rolls off of Chronos, and an attack that rolls off of Frogs added together. But since he's doing it good enough by himself, that means Frog can do whatever the fuck he wants on something else, and so I didn't have to rely on X Strike much.
That's exactly what happened to me with Ayla,
cool, and I figured that out.
That was exactly with Ayla. Ayla by herself was doing like 650 fucking damage. So I was like, oh, she's going to attack by herself, and the other two are going to do a dual tech,
I was using, I can't remember who I had. I don't remember. It was someone Healy. It was either Marl or Robo. But I was using the Volt bite or whatever it was that Ayla does with Chrono.
That's and a great fucking move. Something.
It's so good.
Yeah, I love it. But yeah. So the Tyranno goes down, and Azala says, "Let it be known that we Reptites fought to the bitter end." And she tells us that her people know that the Great Red Stone is going to crash, scorch the earth, then bring about an ice age that will wipe out her people because they're all cold-blooded, as alluded to last time we were here, which I thought was pretty cool, where it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, this fight only matters to save the humans, not to decide if the Reptites win. Like, no matter what, the Reptites won't survive the ice age. And she's basically just going out in a blaze of glory, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's sad. They've been fighting a losing war, basically.
Yeah. And then we see a really flippin' sweet cutscene. This game now has both of my favorite uses of Mode 7 graphics, one of which is my memorable moment for later. And this is the other one, where they actually use it to like have depth and 3-dimensional like whooshes on the Super NES, and it's really fucking cool. And it shows Lavos entering the atmosphere, and Ayla says that Lavos means big fire in her language, but before the hedgehog can fully burrow into the ground, Kino shows up with some dactyls so we can ride out this wave together from the air. And as we're hopping on the dactyls, Ayla tries to bring Azala with us, and she's like, "No, like, we won't survive. This is the will of the earth that we die here. So please just take care of the world." And I ship it. I think Ayla and Azala would be a great couple. It's kind of the fanfic trope of the "do you really hate me this much?" But it's fine. I like it. So after the huge ass explosion, we all run to where Lavos fell to try and kill him while he's a baby, instead of in the future. But by the time we get there, he's already far underground, and the only thing left is a time gate. Ayla is like, "You saved my people, so I will help you save yours. So let's go together and jump through this time gate where we save for the week."
Yeah.
And
Eli, where do we end up after we go through this time gate?
In the year 12,000 ago.
Yeah. And what's it like?
So, it's like it was 12,000 years ago. I don't remember. It was very snowy, as I recall.
Yeah.
I went out onto the world.
It's super snowy, and the music makes it sound like everything sucks. You know how music can be. It's Dark World music. Also, if you do save, you do see that you're in the Dark Ages. So, yeah, Ayla.
Yeah, you can tell because the music it goes da 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 da.
No. It's more like it's more like bum bum. But I was gonna sing the one from FF6, but it's not very melodic, so you all wouldn't notice that's what I was singing. Anyway, there's one from FF6. The Dark World.
I've played A Link Between Worlds much more recently than I have.
It's so good. But yeah, it's spoiler alert. It's the best. This is the best part of the game that we're just starting, and we'll learn more about why next week.
Yeah, so let's listen to that creepy ass song and then talk about our memorable moments.
Nice.
So, I told Maddie to go first last time, so Eli, you go first this time.
I don't really have any memorable moments that we haven't already talked about. I liked it all. Oh, I thought the dream sequence when quote unquote dream sequence when you wake up again in 65 million BC and Marl is there and is apparently your wife.
Oh yeah, that was a weird part.
Kind of interesting.
It's very heteronormative, but
yeah. Thanks, game.
I don't know. I do.
Because everyone knows that Marl and Luca end up together.
Oh,
I ship them too. Can I ship both of them?
I mean, yeah.
Let's just have a poly ship. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that after a big glass of Skull Smash, all of the party has finagled with each other, just in one big writhing mass.
I mean, they're all teens,
spiky
okay?
Hair.
They're horny teens. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Robo is also a teen.
Yeah. So not only are they horny teens, they're horny anime teens. Have you ever been to an anime convention and found the couch that just has like 15 anime teens like all draped on each other? That's what this party is.
But I can imagine it.
They're all just on the anime convention couch for this whole game.
I mean, that was how my youth conventions went, where it was just like piles and piles of teenagers.
Yep. Since I just talked about it, I don't like Mode 7. I think that it's not a good piece of technology. It is technically impressive, but it looks like shit. And so they did it because the Sega Genesis couldn't do it. And that was it. And not because it was ever any good. But back to back, this game had two really good uses of it. The first one is like my absolute favorite one since the crashed frigate from Super Metroid, which has previously been my favorite one. But while the timey-wimey warbledy-garbledy stuff is happening at Magus' castle, they have a picture of the background in Mode 7 just like rotating around at different speeds and growing bigger and smaller and doing all of those Mode 7 weird things that just gives the whole scene this like weird, like blurry quality in a game that has super sharp pixels that you can't do blurriness in, but they made it work with Mode 7, and I thought it was really cool and really good looking. And the other one was Lavos crashing to Earth, which is the second best Mode 7. But what about you, Maddie? Do you have any?
I do want to mention lava crashing to Earth, the way that they did it, where it's like you see the Earth in the bottom left, and then the lava is going. It's like a spinny thing where it's they're really just scaling the sprite to make it smaller. That's like the exact same way that they do Samus's ship in Super Metroid when she's flying away at the end. It's like the exact same layout. It's like the same storyboard, and probably maybe they even got that. They're like, oh, you can do a cool image of a thing flying through space if this is how you arrange the shot, right? So I felt like, I was like, oh, that's just Super Metroid. It's the exact same shot. Anyway, few things I want to mention, just a few small ones. You already said this line, but I want to read Ted Woolsey's version of the line.
Go for it.
When Ayla is talking with the other tribesmen, and they're like, we'll never win. She goes, Ayla, fight while alive, win and live, lose and die, rule of life, no change rule, which I think is really cool. And I think that line
the Slattery version is real close to that. The extended part, I just didn't read it all, but he actually didn't change too much about that because it's real good.
I think that line is in many ways. Oh, I deleted one of my memorable moments. Oh, whatever. I'll just tell you. I deleted it without realizing. Oh no, there it is. Anyway, I think like that line really sets the interesting stage for the whole caveman portion, even though I don't normally like this kind of thing, because it really does make it like, oh, neither of these people are good or evil. Like, this is just two extremely primitive tribes who are fighting each other because they're different species, just like in nature, animal species fight for supremacy, right? And that's cool. Like Azala, she's not bad at all. And when you defeat her and she says, we ... have no future, you feel for her. You know, she's on the losing side of history, and like maybe theoretically humans and reptiles could have coexisted, sure, but you don't get to do that part of the story. And who knows? These are such primitive creatures. Maybe they can't understand the idea of different species coexisting, right? It's not like human beings where we have different races where we're all humans, right? We can't imagine what it would be like for there to be another sentient species, right? We can't really comprehend that. But yeah, I think it actually paints a really cool portrait of this desperate, very amoral fight for survival. Where there's really no hard feelings, and they don't explain this at all. This is all just my imagination, but you get the feeling that Azala and Ayla have great respect for each other. Which is why we can ship them. It all comes back to boning. Other thing, the final thing is when you're in Azala's castle. Oh, a lot of the tiles used here are the exact same tiles used in the Guardia castle, which I find cool. It's like it's a medieval style castle. Anyway, there's a lot of parts where there's these prison bars, and every single time there's prison bars, there's a button next to the prison bars that Chrono, as you the player, as Chrono, can click to make the bars go away. But for the one where you find Kino, before you get to the button, it goes into a cutscene, and Ayla's like, Kino, banging at the wall. And then she fucking like does crazy athletics to climb like over the door and through a gap in the wall and go down the other side. And the whole time I'm like, there's a button.
There's a button right
There's the button. It's right here. And I'm pretty it's extremely fucking funny. Like she does this amazing like acrobatic fucking pirouette off the handle to get at her boo Kino, and the whole time you're just like, you didn't have, that was completely unnecessary.
And what I think is great is is when she gets in there, Kino's like, well, how will we get out? And she and us, the players, like, oh, we can go press the button for you, but Ayla still doesn't let it be over, and she goes and just breaks down the door.
And then she breaks
with
down
her
the door
awesomeness instead.
Which is interesting, because if the player had just pressed the door to let her out, that would have actually drawn more attention to the joke. But by having her break out, there's a chance you don't even get it, right? You don't even get like, oh, she didn't have, there was a door there. The button's only acknowledged if the player sees the button. Anyway, it's just extremely, this game does great little scenes with sprite work. Anyway, and the final thing I want to mention, this is not really a memorable moment, it's more of a plot thing. I just want to put this out there because some people wouldn't necessarily notice. And if I mention it next week, it's too late. So whenever you're getting your sword fixed by Melchior, earlier when we talked with Melchior, an interesting new little track played to really, if you wanted to sit there and let it play instead of clicking through the dialogue, you would get to hear one of the best tracks in the game. It's a lovely piece of music. And this time when you go down with, when Melchior and Robo are working together to rebuild the sword, again, you hear this very interesting, mysterious music. I just want to bring this up for Eli and other people who haven't played the game before. Maybe you've forgotten how that song goes because it's only played once, but the next town we're going to go to has that music in it. So, let that mean whatever it means to you.
I thought of something else I wanted to mention. Just on a whim, when I started up today, I was like, I'm going to go see what Lavos is all about.
Oh, yes.
Oh, nice.
That's a very interesting fight, and I made a save state for it, so I'm going to go back to it at some point. I think I was like 25-ish level at that fight at that point. Actually, might have been lower. Didn't hit as hard as I thought it would.
Nice.
And
you're gonna try and get through it with misses.
Yeah, I might go ahead and try and get through it. If I die, then I'll just see what the cutscene is. But the part where I saved it is where the Magus part starts. There's different phases that you go through, and each one is based on a previous fight that you've done, which is really interesting. So, like, if you haven't done any of the fights and you just go in and fight Lavos, you're not going to know what the fuck is going on because it's like the previous boss fights you've done. And I liked that between each phase you had a chance to like heal up and switch party members. I thought that was pretty cool. It's it doesn't seem insurmountable at this level, but I may just not be far enough along in the fight. There may be a fucking lot more to it.
So the phases aren't level scaled. They're literally the bosses you fought before. So the reason they're easy is because you've already beat them. Gotcha. So once you get past Magus, it'll start hurting you real hard.
Also,
it potentially could be doable at this point because we're at the halfway point of the game, and without giving too much away, at the end of next week where we're stopping is like the first proper chance to go and fight Lavos. We're not going to do it. We're going for the good ending, but you potentially could end the game at the end of next week. So you might be able to take it now.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah. I think you could almost say that the level, I don't know if this is actually true from a numerical standpoint, but I feel like it feels like this might be right, that like the level curve ends at like next week.
Yeah.
Because after that point, the game gets less linear and you can go around and blah, 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 blah. So the point is, it's like, no, maybe maybe Lavos is designed where you fight him at the end of next week, theoretically speaking. Yeah, anyway, feel free to go ahead and try it. It's fun as hell.
Yeah. So a couple of mine, speaking of Melchior, I loved the fact that this is the second time the game has made us wait real time and not RPG time to make a thing happen. And I also love that there are 2 screens that it lets you walk in, so you could miss the whole thing if you hang out upstairs if you wanted to.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I think is just real cool. Yeah, you can wait upstairs and they'll just come to you in like 5 minutes of waiting around and like, hey, we fixed it. But you also can run downstairs and watch them put it together. But it's not a cutscene; it's happening, and you're walking around just minding your own business.
Yeah,
which I thought was really cool. And then after you get Ayla for real at the end of this, I went into the end of time to get her magic, but unfortunately, you were born before magic existed, so casting spells is right out. But if it's any consolation, you have plenty of other assets.
Woo!
God damn it, Specchio.
Something about this game's lore.
One of her texts is called Cat Attack, so I can understand why you would have thought she was a cat girl for so long. By the way,
that attack fucking slaps too.
It does.
Yeah.
It's very...
Go on.
Okay, what were you about to say?
I was just going
to go on to my next
offhanded observation that I've been meaning to say this for weeks. Ayla's like second tech is called Rollo Kick, ROLLOKICK, Rollo Kick, and some of these games' flavor text are very unhelpful. Like some of them, it's like 2 times damage for Chrono, or Chrono does an area attack. Right? The description for Rollo Kick is Rollo Kick an enemy.
That's amazing.
He just said the name of the attack and that it does it. Like, I guess the fact that it says roller kick and enemy tells you that it's a single attack, but like, I just find that extremely funny.
That's really good. But the other thing I wanted to mention is my added content, not my bonus post-game dungeon, but my other added content. I get an arena where I can Pokemon all of the monsters throughout time and space and make them fight each other. And it fucking sucks. It is garbage. This game has brilliant sprite work by Tetsuya Nomura and others. I'm sure he's not the only one on there. He's just the only name I recognized in the sprite department. But the sprite work is fantastic. Guess which basic shape everything in the arena is? A goddamn rectangle. Unimportant people's houses in just random ass towns are not rectangles in this game. Yet this supposed great end game thing of the arena is all like RPG Maker XP looking ass rectangles, and it's bad, and I hate it, and it doesn't add anything to the experience. I've heard that the post game dungeon is kind of good, but the arena is definitely not. It is not worth it. Don't even go.
Player be warned.
But yeah. But that's about all I had for the week. Anything else you guys want to say about this half of the game before we dive into the the cool shit that happens next week?
Not at all.
I still fucking love it.
Yeah. So where we will be stopping next week will be like the hillbilly in me wants to say you'll know it when you see it, but there's a big thing that happens at the end of the Ocean Palace where you will say,
gone too far.
It is by far the most dramatic scene that has happened thus far. Honestly, I don't think it's absurd to say you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah. It happens at the Ocean Palace. So just in case something dramatic does happen in Zeal and you're like, wow, that's really dramatic. You're not there yet. Keep going.
It is also a climax, just like beating Magus was a climax. Like, it's the end of this arc.
Yeah. Yeah. And it happens at the Ocean Palace. It's huge. You will be, well, what the fuck do I do now? Save and then come and talk to us and we'll tell you what to do now.
Do we get a Luna?
I don't know.
Because if there's a Luna, that'd be an amazing place to save.
Yeah, I don't think we do. I think we run away because it does give us a couple like breast crumbs. Wow, I need to go to bed. Bread crumbs.
Oh yeah, like when I'm having my breaded my breaded chicken and there's some crumbs.
Yeah,
breast crumbs.
Yeah. Or like if you're eating crackers while leaning back in bed, like, oh damn it, I have all these breast crumbs.
Y'all haven't seen me in a while, but I've upped my hormone dosage a lot, so I definitely understand the concept of breast crumbs now. Because they get in there.
Yeah, they do. They
really
do.
Get in there. It's disgusting.
I'm so glad I no longer have to have those moments where I'm like, what is that? Oh God, how long has that been there?
Extremely Emperor Cusco voice. How long has that been there?
Yeah, enjoy all the fun adventures you'll have now that you got them
unlocked breast crumbs.
Got them tatas. Just like that kid in Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll stop when you know what happens, and and you'll know it when you see it. It's the end of the Ocean Palace, to be more precise.
Like, where do we stop? Where do we stop? Have I gone too far?
You're totally gonna play right past it. I'm just kidding, Eli.
Nah,
it's.
I know me. I know what I'm about.
Out of all games, this one is probably the least likely for you to not understand that this is what we're talking about. For the place for you to stop, but who knows? It might just happen. You'd be like, "Huh? Oh well, let's go see what happens next."
I mean, I feel like it's entirely possible.
Yeah, but it's huge. You'll obviously know what we're talking about, and you'll remember this conversation when it happens. But it is the end of the Ocean Palace segment. But
okay, I did just check because I wanted to be sure. There's not a Luna, so it is like once you can save.
Yeah,
cool.
Okay,
just thought I'd clarify.
So if you like what you hear and you want to support us, you can donate on our Ko-Fi at ko-fi.com/rpgbookclub, where you can vote on our Best of the Rest 2020 bracket, as we spoke about earlier, to decide what game we play next. And if you want to hang out with us, there are links to all of our social medias on our website at www.rpgbook.club. Please come and hang out with us in the Discord. It's been a hot minute since we've had new people, but we love when we do have new people. The Animal Crossing talk has died down a little bit because it changed to Persona and then changed to Final Fantasy VII talk. It'll probably change to Xenoblade talk when that comes out. But we're always talking about the cool shit, and I love to meet you people. So come and talk to us.
Hell yeah!
But yeah, for RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I've been Elias Sailor Eli Warren,
and I'm Maddie Grace Alexandra Benghazi Webben. I'm workshopping it, okay?
her putting on her pajamas is her getting Sonic's new shoes. Jack,
stop that. There's a dog very far away.
And so, and of course there is. And so, I think it's the first time we've heard. I think that's the first time we've ever heard Jack.
Weird. Yeah.
So what happens is we are upstairs. Jack does not know what's downstairs, but the other dog is barking. So now Jack is scared and he's barking. Finish your story. I'm sorry. I'm holding him now, so he don't bark.
It's okay.